All right, what's up, guys? I cannot get tired of saying it, but we're here once again at Aston Martin Orlando. And today we have a really special guest and a dear friend of mine. We have Damian, who is both a sales rep and brand ambassador here at the Aston Martin dealership. And so I just have a couple questions for you. Some fun questions and some more like serious or rather like inspirational questions, if you will. So. Let's start off with like an icebreaker, if you will. So, what was your first car?
My first car was a Mazda Protege.
Oh wow!
I had to work at the dealership for 3 years to get approved for it.
Wow!
Yeah, that's how I got my first car, through the car business when I first started.
That's a really cool story. And what do you currently drive, and what is your dream car?
All right, I currently drive an Aston Martin Vantage.
Really?
Yep, naturally aspirated V8. Yep. Yeah, it's I absolutely love it. I adore it. It's convertible too.
Wow, the irony. So he worked at Mazda and he got a Mazda. He works at Aston Martin and he drives an Aston Martin. So that's really cool. And so can you tell us a little bit of how you got into the like the car business? Was it like an initial passion and then you decided to pursue it professionally? So can you give us a little more insight on that?
Well, it's sort of along the same lines that you're doing. You have a passion for it. I loved cars, so I think when I was 16, I started working at a dealership as a porter, then detail, and then just kind of went from there. And when I got old enough to actually sell cars, they let me sell for the dealership I kind of started at the bottom with.
Well, that's really cool. So actually, kind of what I'm doing right now. So I'm still 16, and so I'm coming down here and doing some content for these guys, and they've allowed me that.
Stuff you love. That's the easiest thing in the world.
And they've allowed me that opportunity to come down here, and that's really cool. That's a really cool story, and I can relate to that. Who knows? You might be seeing me in one of these really cool shirts with an Aston Martin logo and a tie. Like a year and a half. Who knows?
Yeah, or you'll own a network.
Yeah. So another thing is based off of your years of experience, right? What is your biggest pet peeves when someone's trying to come in and buy a car?
Pet peeves. Wow, you know what?
Gotcha on that one.
Yeah. Every client's different. Everybody likes to shop differently. Some people want immediate attention and want to go over everything, and some people just want to be left alone, and you just approach them right at the end, or if they come and get you. The only thing I can think of that I may have an issue with clients is if they maybe are in the cars and try and use the controls or something, and sometimes we get lot damage from them trying to open up a cup holder or pulling on the glove box or something, and they actually break something, because it's not cheap to fix it when they're in, so.
It's actually really funny because I haven't released that video, but I am going to. But right in front of us is a DB11, and I did a video on it, and I was showing the glove compartment, and I was trying to like pull it, and then and I didn't see that there was a little button, and it's automatic. So that's crazy because I was expecting something along the lines of like clients coming in here with like a 450 credit score trying to buy an Aston Martin. I thought that was gonna be your biggest pet peeve, honestly.
No, man, I love the clients that come in here that it's only aspirational. When I was a kid, I just loved exotic cars, and you think to yourself, someday I'm going to own one, So people that have no intention of buying, or young kids who, may not be in a position to buy, but they're in here anyway, I enjoy it because it reminds me, how lucky I am to have this job, because when I was a kid, this was my dream too, so.
And and on that note, and this is the third day that I've come around, and, these guys are really open to, people just kind of walking in and seeing the cars, and that's a really good strategy, because what that does is you're creating future clients, future customers. And I myself, I've always been an Aston Martin fanboy, but now that I've gotten the chance to actually come down here, be in a couple of them, and actually be able to, just have that tactile experience with one. I mean, it made me fall in love with the brand even more.
Yeah.
And so, and like I told Paulo, which he's actually right next door. He's the general manager here, the sales manager, and I told him, I said, you know what, I'm gonna have to come here. I'm gonna come back in like maybe 2-3 years realistically, because I want to buy a 707, a DBX 707, and I need a couple.
I'm your man.
You are my man. So I need a little more cash flow in order to afford that, and an actual credit score. So, but that's really cool. And the other thing that I really wanted to ask you was, what is, because so you said that you worked at Mazda for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, it was a Toyota Mazda dealership.
So I'm genuinely curious as to, and this is gonna be the last question, right? Have you noticed a difference in like the quality of clients in Mazda Toyota versus the quality of clients that come here at Aston Martin?
No, it's pretty much the same quality of client, whether you're at whether stage of your life, maybe a little bit more successful to afford a car like this, but they're just regular people that just, need information, and that's all I try and provide is information, and then ultimately the clients will make their own decision if they like the product or not. So.
Awesome. Well, and one last question, because actually my phone's about to die. It's at 5%. But this is actually the last question. So, what is your rich advice, right? So, what is the one piece of advice that you'd give somebody, that is trying to walk in this dealership and say, I want that car, I want that Aston Martin. So, what advice would you give to someone who aspires to do that one day?
Work harder than everyone around you, and do the jobs that nobody wants to do, and just dedicate yourself, and eventually you'll just move up the ladder.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so guys, so that's the end of this little mini interview, but I appreciate your time. It was really insightful. So thank you so much. So so guys, this is not the last that you'll see here at Aston Martin Orlando. So they've become a sort of like a staple here on my page. So you'll be seeing more of them. And so I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I thank you, Damian, for your time.
Anytime.
Yeah, and so you know what, guys? If you guys walk, ironically, as soon as you walk in the door, I mean, you'll see the
original OG right there.
Yeah, you see a little James Bond painting, and then you'll see right here, Mr. Damian right here waiting to sell you a car. So thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching and tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.